The question is, shall the bills in the block pass? That is all bills except for 507, 515, and 636. All in favor of the passage of the bills will record their votes aye. Those opposed, no. Are the senators ready to vote? Have all the senators voted? Do any senators desire to change their votes? The clerk will close the roll.
Ayes 39, noes 0.
Ayes 39, noes 0. The bills in the block pass. Returning to page 7. Senate Bill 515, the senator from Prince William County, Senator McPike.
Mr. President, I move that the bill pass. And speaking to the bill.
Senator has the floor.
Senate Bill 515 would allow and create a framework for VDOT to allow food trucks in our commuter lots in Planning District 8, which is Northern Virginia. These are often areas that have influx of commuters day in and day out from throughout the day, and it's important we look at ways to allow enterprise and commercialize these lots to allow more convenience for our commuters. This provides a framework for VDOT to create rules for the solicitation of proposals for food vendors to aid in that process, and I move the bill pass.
Thank you, Senator. The senator from Fairfax City, Senator Peterson.
Gentleman yield for a question.
Would the gentleman from Prince William County yield for a question?
I yield, Mr. President.
Yield, Senator.
I asked the gentleman, if you have a mobile food vending truck and you park it on the boundary between two jurisdictions, so the front two wheels are in one community and the back two wheels are in another community, and one community has a meals tax and the other does not have a meals tax, how does the vendor arrive at the appropriate tax, and how does he remit that tax back to the locality?
Senator from Prince William County.
Mr. President, I'd answer the senator from Senator Fairfax that it would certainly be proportional to the amount of bumper that resides within the other county.
Further question, Mr.
Senator,
President.
yield for an additional question.
I yield.
I would ask the gentleman how would it impact that calculation if the vehicle is actually moving at the time of the order is made?
Senator from Prince William County.
Mr. President, I'd answer the senator that I'm not sure what the rate of speed or the calculation or rate or distance would be to make that calculation, but I'm sure VDOT has a formula to do that for you.
I thank the gentleman for his candor.
Thank you, Senator. The senator from Alexandria, Senator Eben.
Thank you, Mr. President. Would the gentleman yield for a question?
Would the senator from Prince William County yield for a question?
I yield.
He yields, Senator.
I would ask the gentleman if it's true the gentleman is a volunteer firefighter.
Senator from Prince William County.
This is true, Mr. President.
Further question?
Senator, yield for an additional question.
I yield.
I would ask the gentleman if he's aware of the fire at La Grata food truck in Fairfax County just on Monday, where the driver and passenger were injured.
The senator from Prince William County.
I am not, Mr. President.
Mr. President, I would ask the gentleman how his bill would impact these fires that seem to be breaking out among food trucks.
The senator from Prince William County.
Certainly this code provision, Mr. President, certainly this code provision does not anticipate motor vehicle safety standards related to food truck. That's one provision that falls under the health code as well as the fire protection permits required by those food trucks. This does not deal with that provision.
Thank you, Senator. The senator from Alexandria.
Well, may I ask the gentleman another question, sir?
Gentleman, yield for an additional question.
I yield.
He yields, Senator.
I would ask the gentleman, and I'll just say this in one question, if he's familiar with Los Chilangos food truck in California, an overregulated state with plenty of food regulations, where a 4-year-old girl on September 1st, 2015, experienced pain and swelling in her abdomen and stopped eating.
Senator from Prince William County.
Mr. President, I am certainly not aware of that certain condition, but I can speak to the ones I am familiar with, and the senator from Alexandria may have frequented several of these. They might be Wright's Delight, Tacos Matadores, Voodoo Chicken, Plum Crazy for a Barbecue, Life and Sweet LLC, Bella Vita, Fat Yummies, Punta, Canadelli, Carolina Q, Feelin' Krabby, Healthy Food Truck, and many more that may come to a commuter lot near you soon. Mr. President.
Thank you, Senator.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Senator. The senator from Buckingham, Senator Garrett.
Mr. President, would the patron yield for a question?
Would the senator from Prince William yield for a question?
I yield.
He yields, Senator.
Mr. Senator, I asked the patron if he's familiar with the Pulitzer Prize-winning work of Rebecca Jennings, who wrote, 2014 is the year the food truck died. Who killed it?
Senator from Prince William County.
Mr. President, I am not familiar with that body of work.
Mr. President, would the patron yield for another question?
The senator yield for an additional question.
I yield.
He yields, Senator.
Is the patron aware of the tragedy in Vienna, Austria last year wherein 71 people were found dead in a food truck?
Senator from Prince William County.
It's true.
Mr. President, I certainly am not.
Thank you, Senator.
Mr. President, a final question.
The senator yield for an additional question.
I yield.
He yields, Senator.
Doesn't legislation like this invite just that type of tragedy to Planning District 8?
The senator from Prince William County.
I thank the senator for, Mr. President, thank the senator for the concerns for our Planning District 8, and it's certainly a part of the issues we can move forward with and deal with the health department as issues may arise.
Thank you, Senator. The senior senator from Henrico, Senator McPike.
Mr. President, will the senator yield for a question?
The gentleman from Prince William County yield for a question.
I yield.
He yields, Senator.
Mr. President, I would ask the senator, does this make it easier or harder to have these mobile food vending trucks on the roads of Planning District 8?
Senator from Prince William.
It provides a framework for the approval at the lots with the condition that localities approve the use of food trucks at the lots.
Senior senator from Henrico.
Further question, Mr. President.
Would the senator yield for an additional question?
I yield.
He yields, Senator.
Mr. President, understanding that the senator is a freshman senator and will certainly be the target of the other side come his next reelection bid, wouldn't he be better served by trying to keep these vehicles off the roads of Planning District 8 since he has such a horrible traffic congestion situation up in Planning District 8?
The senator from Prince William.
Mr. President, I'd answer the senator that these actually, because they're going to the commuter lots, we keep them off the highways from going to Arlington and Alexandria during the morning commute. So this is a traffic prevention measure.
I thank the senator.
Thank you, Senator. The senator from Fauquier, Senator Vogel.
Thank you, Mr. President. I wonder if the patron would yield for a question.
Would the senator from Prince William yield for a question?
I yield.
He yields, Senator.
Thank you, Mr. President. I wonder if the senator from Prince William believes that there should be special tolling for food trucks.
Senator from Prince William.
Mr. President, I'd answer the senator from Fauquier that tolling may be a personal result of eating at Kana Deli or Carolina Q or other potential food vending trucks along the way, but certainly not especially toll.
Thank you, Senator.
Mr. President, would he yield for an additional question?
Senator, yield for an additional question.
I yield.
Is he aware that there are some members of this body who believe that there should be additional lanes for food trucks that should be tolled?
Senator from Prince William.
Mr. President, I'm certainly not quite aware that there's a food truck rapid transit lane desired by other members across the aisle, but it's certainly that's something we can take a look at.
Mr. President, perhaps a hot, sweaty lane for food trucks? And Mr. President, if he would yield for an additional question?
Would the senator yield for an additional question?
I yield.
He yields, Senator.
I wonder if the senator is aware that the senator from Grayson is vehemently opposed to food trucks.
The senator from Prince William County.
Mr. President, I'm not aware of this.
And I wonder if the senator from Prince William is aware that the senator from Grayson believes that the senator from Prince William's name is McPike.
Senator McPike.
Mr. President, I am certainly aware the senator from Grayson, Senator Carrico, does desire to call me by that name, Mr. President.
Thank you, Senator.
Okay, thank you, Mr. President. I have no further questions.
Thank you, Senator. The senator from Franklin, Senator Stanley.
Thank you, Mr. President. Would the senator yield for a question?
Would the senator yield for a question?
I yield.
He yields, Senator.
Mr. President, I would ask my friend, does allowing all of these food trucks in Planning District 8, with all of that food in those commuter lots, does it make it easier for Bigfoot to camp out in these lots?
Senator from Prince William County.
Mr. President, I'd respond to the senator that it certainly could invite additional Bigfoot sightings, and we'll certainly let the senator know should additional sightings be found.
Thank you, Senator.
I thank the gentleman.
Yes, sir. Thank you as well. The question is, shall Senate Bill 515 pass? All in favor of the motion will record their votes aye. Those opposed, no. Are the senators ready to vote? Have all the senators voted? Do any senators desire to change their votes? The clerk will close the roll.
Ayes 32, noes 2.
Ayes 38, noes 2. The bill passes. For those of you that are in the gallery, this was Senator McPike's first bill, and I think he did a great job fielding some of these perhaps irrelevant questions. So that you were here to witness his first bill. So thank you, Madam Clerk.
Regular